the typical conveyance that we have done before.
All right.
For the barracks and for other assets in the village. And again, if I want to wait till the August 10th meeting, because these guys need to start selling. And the IA actually says that we're conveying water.
Right, right.
Actually, it says water, sewer, and we've done, it's completed, the sewer's completed, the sanitary storm is completed.
And Corey did the as-built are all good.
Yep,
He surveyed them.
yeah, the village has already in-house accepted the water line, which has been up for 6 years. or
So what do
more.
we need to do with this document?
What we should do is
Do we need a motion?
I think we need a resolution or sorry, a motion that authorizes me to sign it when Dave finishes.
and it's not even a signature, it's just accept.
Oh, accept it,
It's
sure,
accepted,
sure.
so the village,
Yeah.
so the authorizing the mayor to accept, on behalf of the board, to accept the water line conveyance.
Okay.
We'll stick with it because that's the docs we have, and in a couple weeks, that's okay,
Yeah.
but that one is the one that,
Yeah, because the housing authorities won't give them permission until that's done. The housing
Right,
authority doesn't
right,
need
right.
sewer and storm
Okay.
done.
so,
So this will allow them to start selling.
What does it mean that they've done? That means they've actually, what have they done?
Well, the water line's installed and been
been done for
operational for
years.
8 years.
Yeah. Is it
It's
eight? Yeah,
existing,
yeah.
water lines exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Usually
as
the-
part of the sale, we have to accept the water ones,
Yeah.
We were supposed to accept it
which
8
we
years
already
ago.
accepted the sale.
Well, we were supposed to accept the water, this is a separate water line that
Yeah.
feeds into that division.
Yeah.
That already should have been conveyed 7 years ago, or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Typically, it comes with a 1-year warranty, and it's been 8 years.
So
And
we
they're
get
all-
no warranty for this
And
just
they've
because
had
it's already been done.
Right,
And they've had no problem.
right.
We've had more problems with our water lines than the barracks have.
And our engineer's okay, they're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, he surveyed it all, everything
So,
looks
so
good.
the attorneys actually, like finalize the language
Yeah.
tomorrow versus August 10th. Tomorrow.
Basically, whenever Dave, this basically allows Campbell to harass Dave on our behalf,
Yeah,
because now
yeah.
we've officially stepped out of the way.
Yeah. we're good.
Okay, yeah, I'm all for that. I just wanted, let's just step out and let
Yeah.
them duke it out. So do you need a motion?
Yes.
Or did you
Could I clarify one thing, please?
Sure.
This is, you made a motion to authorize the mayor to accept on behalf of the board the water line conveyance at Madison Barracks. Now, is that only the water line? Is it?
Yeah, only the
Yes.
water line. It's all,
Only the
it's
water
all the
line.
paperwork we're seeing. I would have liked all three, but
Okay.
I'll take that one.
What's the other two?
What's that?
Sewer and
Sewer
storm.
and storm would be good, and we'll get those by the 10th, but that one.
This is the one that's holding up their ability
Holding up
to sell.
everything, right.
As soon as they have this in the IA, they can start letting people put deposits down on lots,
Yep.
Okay,
which is really why,
And then the faster
and they
we
want to
get
do
it on
that
the
this
tax.
summer because no one's put deposits down when
Okay.
there's frozen waves throwing ice onto the lawn.
gotcha.
So this is their, they've got a few months left to sell these before the weather turns.
Peggy, you got that?
Yes,
So
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
so who made, You-
Kelly?
I'll make the motion.
okay,
all right, Mark second, all in favor?
Aye.
Um,
The other thing we needed to talk about was the grant. Do we have to fill it out?
No, we just need to vote to do that, because it will cost some money to do. So, the grant, I sent it over, I spent way too much time looking for it, because it was in my other email, before we switched over. But I forwarded it again. And I'll read off the link here, strategic planning and feasibility studies. So it's a grant for up to 100,000 each. I don't think we'll need that much. ESD strategic planning and feasibility studies promotes economic development by encouraging economic and employment opportunities, stimulating development of communities in urban areas. Total funding of 2 million. We're only accessible to half because I think half is set for low income. To support one, strategic development plans for a city, county, or municipality, or a significant part thereof, and two, feasibility studies for sites or facilities. So basically, we can apply and get a bunch of money. It's 50% match, only 10% of which needs to be cash. The other can be like Lynn's time. I don't know if it can be our time. Like, for example, if we have a long strategy meeting, can we bill like some percentage of the board's salary?
I don't know, I've never seen
Yeah.
that though, I've never seen it, but
Okay.
we usually have enough in other in kind
Sure.
to do it.
Okay.
so.
So the idea is if we say, hey, we need to sit down with Corey and legal and go through during our planning session or have them review our strategy stuff, we get some cash back.
To offset.
To
any
offset,
fees that might
like,
be
yeah,
associated
those
with it.
fees. Yep. So when we do our strategic plan, our like, 5, 10 year, whatever we want to do, some of that's just gonna be us, which doesn't cost anything to the village because we're on fixed salaries. But we will need review, we will need maybe feasibility studies or legal review. And basically this grant can offset those costs and we can kind of use it.
We might be able to use it for the
Storm.
New York Forward stuff. But
Sure.
I'll-
Yeah, the DRI,
I'll-
yeah.
I'll give you a 30-second on that after.
Yeah, so my thought was, this application is due the 29th of July.
Right.
Who's
Um,
gonna do it?
I do not know that we need to have Corey do it. I've never done one myself. I'm happy to,
Isn't that a Corey, Dave, and whoever thing?
I think it's more Dave,
Okay.
because
You
it's,
can't expect him to be available to write it. between
right,
now
right, and I don't mind, I'm happy to
Unrealistic expectation.
put some time in, but I don't know that we can expect, it. Even if Dave gives an outline, like I can flesh it out and then you guys can review it.
Sure.
But we need official board approval to do it, even
Yeah,
if it doesn't, even if the application doesn't cost money. My understanding is we're supposed to do that.
I'll make that motion to reapply for this.
Okay,
Look at that.
all right, any other? All in favor? Aye.
So we had, you saw an email today, and I got your answer. So Kathy Keating, back when we did the budget, there was 10 grand in there to redo that video. She was able to get 2. She had solicited up 4 bids.
Yeah.
2 entities have not gotten back. Of the 2, one's 12 and one's 10. And one is Production Unlimited, and they actually are already working with Can-Am. So they're already familiar because they're here.
Okay.
Is that
But they're also working.
PBS one, or is that
I'm
the
sorry,
other one?
PBS,
PBS,
Production Unlimited. So she was requesting, because the weather is good, and they want to get in and do this,
Right,
to spend that money that was allocated in the budget, beginning now, contract with them now.
Yeah.
So,
I sent it over to Olivia Grant, who's done.
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
to see, but like, if we needed a third. But
Is this a video?
We need to update the visitor center video, the
It's
welcoming
really, really
video.
old,
It's
yeah.
way outdated.
You never have to argue with me. Updated.
yeah, and we budgeted for it, I think
Was
we're-
that in the visitor
she
center
did the
budget? Was
due
that part of
diligence,
the
only she couldn't get.
It was in the heritage area.
Attempted.
the
And
heritage
she
area?
provided the 2 bids plus the names of the other 2 people, plus you got a
I
third.
was gonna say, I know the procurement policy says 3, 2 only were submitted, so
But you got.
It's okay that the other one did just to fill it out.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and they're back ordered, and like, I think she said something of like, they said that it would be in this range, which is higher anyway.
okay.
So there's only one right now, that's the
The
budget line.
PBS one.
If you want, I could, I could also just tell Olivia, hey, can you send us an email that says 15,000 so we don't choose you? But that's kind of, at that point, it's like, why
According
even
to our
bother with it?
procurement policy, we have to have
Like I
3,
said,
or
it's
does
a-
the third one that didn't respond, does that count?
Our
You
book-
attempted
and
3, I mean, I think we could probably vote on it, and be okay with it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we're good. We
That's
can-
fine, I just wanna make sure we're following the.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm cool with that.
Yes, we do.
But I'll make a motion that we allow her to
Accept the-
do that. And they're, again, they already have footage now too.
Right.
You can,
Yeah.
so they're one step ahead. So I would approve the 10 grand for Production Unlimited to do the video.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Just the information piece. So we've been working on the DRI, right? But today, finally, the governor's office released the New York Forward piece. This is the smaller version. So instead of, one entity getting 10 million in a region, they'll, up to 3 can get a smaller amount. That gives us a
Yeah.
better chance, and it's
Are they
designed,
getting rid of the DRI?
no. You
Okay,
have
so,
the-
So
They're
it's
out,
in
they're both
addition
out
to-
there. Dave said it's clear that we should be going for the New York forward. Same process, but you got a better shot. There is a necessary letter of intent. We don't have to, he's gonna write it up.
Yep.
We can approve it on the 8th of August, right? Because that's our meeting, I believe.
it is, yeah,
The 10th it's due,
okay,
into the portal,
Okay.
to the local REDC, so our
Perfect.
regional economic development. So I'm just giving you guys info.
Cool.
We'll shoot out information on it, but Dave's already been working on this since January. So we're ahead of the curve on this,
Yeah.
really, and we'll just continue. But the parameters will be different. We'll probably adjust this to be.
So is he not
very
doing the big one? He's gonna do the smaller one, or he's gonna do them both?
Doing the small, doing the
Smaller.
small.
I feel like, if we find that the application process is the same, we can always send it into the DRI as well, once we've done the work. But if there's gonna be slight variations probably, so if we're targeting, we might as well like aim for the one that we think is the best.
It says actually too, you can apply for both, but they said you should highly consider just doing one, meaning that they're gonna like,
Yeah.
they're gonna fit you into that category.
Sure.
And this is for, they really want to take DRIs now and apply them to large cities and allow villages like us to be in competition, because right now we're just not. We'd be really, there's only a handful or less that have even got. Yeah, they got.
There's only one community smaller than us that I've forgotten.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And the next
So the
smallest,
likelihood is.
the next smallest is like 4 or 5 times our size.
yeah.
So it's like, it'd be 10 million goes a long
Yeah,
way.
it goes a long
Yeah.
way,
But-
we just need, so there's, you'll see the differences in what we can do. But anyway, just an FYI.
You said, I can't, for some reason, I'm trying to look up New York Forward, it's about housing loans.
No, yeah, it's not about housing.
Yeah.
So there's another program. by
Actually,
that
New
name.
York Forward used to be, and so
No,
it was
it's
COVID
not
related.
popular.
It was
No.
COVID related. The
Oh,
New York
let's see,
Forward website. So I kept going to it and I'm like, oh, they haven't changed this yet, because they had to wait for the budget to get passed and then for, inside staff to start to redesign it. So today it was launched, so,
Okay.
so we got it now. We know what we're looking at, and I just got it this afternoon and got it over to Dave. And he's like, yep, I'll work on the letter of intent. It's all done through the portal. And then the planning, all of that we've done is all good. We're great. We may have to eliminate Madison Barracks, that's fine, I want to get downtown money for building facade renewal, all the things that we can do, so. Again, it's just point of information, we don't have to belabor here, we can read it out. I'll make sure you get the website.
That's what I need.
Was there anything else that we needed to do today? Because this could be possibly the shortest meeting ever.
Yeah, no, I think that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Two things real quick, I do want to talk about. So we do have time. Things we gotta think about, de-scoping, we got some time to take a look at the current project for downtown GRI, and we have to de-scope that a little bit. So we should probably spend some time with the engineering firm, Bernie Carr, to see what we want to remove from the actual.
Yeah.
Because that has to happen sooner rather than later. 2, a strategy meeting, no, I'm sorry, that's different. 2 is the, ARPA funds.
Yeah.
How are we gonna approach that? Are we really gonna have a open forum where people are gonna come in, pitch to us, what they wanna use the, ARPA
I
funds?
actually, I don't know if you saw the emails, I came up with a very quick application
Right,
that I'd like to send out to community. I sent that in the email for input for everybody.
okay,
Um,
I'll look at it.
I want it to look,
I'm fine with not putting a number on it. I just thought for simplicity of like, that way we guarantee at least we're gonna have more than one. But I think you're right, like, we don't have to give them a yay or a nay. If they ask for 40 and you say you can have 20,
right,
that's fine.
so
too.
I would like, we have 145,000, we use some of it for the computer. I made up like a Google form that I would like to send out or post or however we decide to do it and get applications that way.
Okay.
I would like it to be first come, first serve. I don't wanna hang on to the money. Like I said, I've told the fire department probably 5 times that we have money and that if they wanna submit something to do it,
Yeah. I
I'm not
think-
gonna hold their hand and remind them 5,000 more times to do it.
No.
I want to put it out there, first come, first serve.
Well,
Like he said, if
I-
someone
I-
asks us for
I
40,
agree, we shouldn't hold them and like wait to do a long review, but I
No.
don't wanna, when you say first come, first served, I assume you mean like, but also with discretion. Like, there are
Obviously.
projects I think that like,
obviously.
we may
That's why I
decide
want to
that-
look at it.
Yeah.
I don't want some,
Right.
I don't even know,
Yeah.
some weird organization to be like, oh, I want $20,000. I do think we should give to the clock tower.
Hmm.
I do think the American Legion, they got hit super hard during COVID and they lost all of their building fund money. So if there's some way they want to build a new handicap accessible, like something like that, I feel like we could potentially help.
Can I suggest this?
Library.
Library
Can
for
I su-
sure.
Can I suggest you and another trustee, our subcommittee, and recommend
Not
to
here.
the board, you know, when grants come in, you recommend whoever that we should approve, and then, you know, so with the bullet point at the meeting is, you know, is approval for, you know, these 2 grants or whatever. Make sure that,
I do agree with you that we should leave some money in the event that the board itself has
You-
a
you-
need or
I think-
something. I don't wanna
I think
exhaust
splitting
it.
into thirds is not crazy, to say we're gonna try and do a third of it this year, we'll save a third for board internal projects like the website or anything else that comes up, and have a third of it left for the following fiscal
We
year.
have to have it spent by 2023.
Right.
so.
So, I mean, we can also
by-
say,
that's
we
by
don't
next
have to
year.
commit to any of that, we can just say, send in applications.
Correct, I'm
And
not
then-
putting
and then
dates
we
on
have our
there,
own
I'm not
discretion
saying
beyond.
there's an expiration, I'm
Yep.
just saying, we have funds available.
Yeah.
Please tell us how, you know, and it's pretty brief, I didn't bring my,
Yeah, I
but it
like-
was,
I like
tell me
it.
how much you're requesting, how can it help the residents of Sackett's Harbor, how will it
Yeah.
help the community? Why do you need it, what are you gonna use it for, pretty basic, very open-ended.
maybe you will add a process, like, you'll submit, maybe we do quarterly submissions, like the community foundation does.
Yeah.
Just on a quarterly basis, you set dates, you know, everything's due on.
Sure.
It's up July 31st, approvals, you know, you'll be notified by September so-and-so,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and every quarter.
The other thing that you had mentioned before,
Yeah.
as a kind of softening of my frustration with all of our organizations not raising money in a
Yeah.
modern way. Number one, so much easier now that we have the clock tower to point to, because their shit is so,
Their
Perfect.
graphic, yes.
I don't know if
that's
you
like
guys
the
got their
standard.
mailer.
Yeah,
It's
Comes with a
beautiful.
pre-addressed envelope, QR code for online donations,
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
just, it's
Very
really well
thorough.
put
I like
together.
that a lot.
yeah.
And I think we should
Encourage.
basically put a stipulation in that if we give you this money for the ARPA Foundation, or from the ARPA fund, we expect some cooperation, and we'll do, I'm happy to do the work of set you up with the QR code. And I'm a little behind with doing it with the military cemetery, was my demo.
Right.
We've got the Stripe account, I've got to get the Venmo up and running and do a little work so that there is on our website a place where you can sign up for donations. But I think it's a good, you know, and we don't have to put that in the application, it could just say, if you're receiving this, we really, this is, you have to agree that your organization will work with the board to modernize your fundraising, because I'm not keen on giving public money to someone who's saying we only accept checks.
The hard
The
part
library
is that
needs to-
ARPA money doesn't stipulate any kind of stipulation, so I just be careful that we're
Well,
not saying,
Well,
I mean, I agree with you,
Yeah,
but because it's attached to ARPA money, I don't know if we
It's,
can.
it's passed through, so you're gonna tell ARPA that the village set up a fund
mhm.
of X dollars, and that's where, so then after that.
Yeah.
it's up
Okay.
to that.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to be careful that we're not,
But
Yeah, and it's not tit for tat, we're not asking anything of them, we're asking them
we're just
to,
putting them on notice
to
that we'd like to see
go to a
them do a
certain
little
standard.
bit more,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
with that.
just put it on the website, give them a link.
Yeah.
It's maybe even
I was
better.
just going to give them a link. I was gonna see, Shannon's pretty good about the Sackett's Living. I do have some, do we have a database with organization email?
not really. We have a list, but we gotta, like,
List.
we have
We
some work
should
to do
really
to put everything
generate-
into the Google contacts in a way that can so you can delegate contacts, basically. The idea is for Peggy's email list to be like in her, and when she logs
Could
in.
I pull it out of that list?
So we don't have, it's not there yet, but you can, yeah. So you have, if she has like an Excel doc, right?
That's what I mean. If I
Is
could
that
pull
where
it
it
out of
is?
that
That
list,
yellow
then I can
paper?
send an email to those people with the
Yeah.
doc, with the form attached to it.
Yeah.
And then we could post it, we could put it
Her
on
email list goes
like,
out.
the email mailer, we could do that.
I would like, so tomorrow, when we chat, I wanted to get you up and running on the village site,
Yeah,
because we have
I
our
need to
own
look
form
at that.
builder, so then it can be right on our site.
Yes.
But the, I mean, the Google ones are fine, and honestly, if it's paying, I don't have anything against just using those. But either way, if we're gonna be building more in the
I just want
future,
to streamline because a lot of people are submitting things digitally.
Mhm.
And yes, there could be a PDF also for people that don't want to do the
Yeah.
PDF, but they should be able to send an application in
yes,
digitally without having to.
yeah.
I have a list with most local volunteer contacts.
Okay, I will come
Which
see you.
the yellow sheet.
Yep.
Okay, but I can send it to you digitally.
Okay, either way, I
Well-
have that. I have the yellow one.
Yeah, but at least then you don't have to copy, you don't have to write it out. It's just like a
Correct.
file.
Yeah, the
What-
only
what-
thing I had besides the ARPA, so that one is
What did
done.
Ron say before the ARPA? Real quick, I saw him just trying.
Oh, the meeting with Barney and Carr, we got to de-scope some of the effort.
Yeah, I had
in the work.
one quick comment on that, but I'll let you- I just don't want to forget.
No, go ahead and do it.
So, I think I brought this up with at least Mark individually, I don't remember who else I talked about it, but Jess Williams and Jeff Call, who runs Jump in the Trunk with his wife, both independently brought up to me not having that parking lot's exit go to Main Street. After I purchased the building, I'm closing on August 1st. Because this is like, it's a village easement and I'm gonna be the property owner, I'm not gonna vote on any of this, but I actually think this is a pretty strong case that it's in the best interest of the village generally, so I don't mind discussing here, especially in the idea of de-scoping. The Cisco truck hit that building. People use that as an exit, it's a blind corner. If people are walking up from in front of the building and people come out, it's not super safe. To Barb's point, and John Maxon also agreed, it could be a good idea to do that at Goodfellas. Those parking lots, I think if we're trying to get people to drive less on Main Street, disconnecting those parking lots from Main Street entirely will cause people, rather than, right now, everyone goes on Main, they hope for parking, they do a U-turn, and then they go to the lot. I would rather have Main disconnected from them, so that people default to going to the lot first. And we reduce those blind corners. There's two options to do that. One, which Lynn likes, is extend that little tiny park where he's just done some work into that area and do picnic tables owned by the village, whatever. Jess would prefer the ability to have a patio where she can sell food. So she wanted it brought, like, basically for me to buy back 10% of the easement, refund the village 14, I think it was 140, refund the village for that section and de-scope the project to be a smaller parking lot and give that back to the building so that she can eventually incorporate it into her restaurant. Because right now she has no handicap ramp. So everyone who comes in a wheelchair or can't do the stairs goes to her kitchen, which could get her in trouble with the health department. It hasn't been an issue yet, but she already has, she's got people in the village who will report her. Let's just
So
say
that
that.
could be part of the
So she wanted to have a ramp on that side and a patio or a deck.
So where's the de-scope? Yeah, where's the de-scope?
The de-scope is, when you look at that parking lot, it's the parking lot and then a driveway out.
So remove the
So we
driveway.
remove the driveway and that basically put that part of the construction back in the building's hands.
and away from the project.
And it would remove that part from the village. Which frankly is one of the better parts for the building, like from my perspective as a future building owner, the drainage being all the way to the storm, not being on my bill would be great for the building, because right now there's a lot of water issues. So this wouldn't be actually just a hard thing to justify, because I would end up having to pay for that part of the drainage, and the village wouldn't.
And then you would have to fill, I mean, eventually then the planning board, you would have to. do
Yeah, it's
whatever
a
it is
lot
you
of work.
decided to do.
Lot of work.
Okay.
There's a lot of work to it, but the point is, it
You
would
wanted that
de-scope a
parcel
little, and
back.
I'm happy to like provide a offer to reduce that easement section, if that makes a de-scope. If you guys think that's a bad look, and you don't even wanna look at it, I'm also fine not doing it.
I mean, I'm part of that, yeah, I mean,
She's
was that
probably-
enough? How much is that gonna de-scope the project? I mean, there's other things to do. So we should bring it all together. We should have this
Right.
holistic conversation about that.
Yeah,
The electric piece, what else can we remove?
Yeah.
How are the- It's like it's an easy conversation to
The
do.
power and sewer, I kind of go back and forth about that. I really
Aaron
think,
Constance got my ear this weekend, and he's like, nope, we need everything.
I think
I was like,
capacity,
well,
that's what the
obviously you were
capacity
here when
for
you
the
voted
village.
on it, so I get where
Yeah.
you come from. but- I don't know if I agree.
it's good infrastructure for us to have. And I
It's like,
think
why would you not put it in? Oh, I'm like, well, I don't know. Do we not
On
want
the docks.
overnight docking? I mean, is that the ultimate goal, is we don't want it?
My thing, well, it is a big conversation.
It is,
We're
and that's
gonna
the
go
part I
too
wasn't-
long on this.
Okay.
But I think part of the de-scope, I don't know how I feel about it. I get if we leave the ability to do it, if we cap it and just, we can do it later, that's nice. If we remove it so that it's gonna be impossible to retrofit later, I think that's a bad decision, because we may want capacity.
Yeah,
If, you know, I'm pretty bullish on it. I just wrote a letter of support for Fort Drum. I was gonna run it by you guys all, and then I realized it was due today, so I just sent it with my signature. But Fort Drum's looking at getting 3,000 more soldiers. Station,
Another brigade. right?
Yeah. You know, that Convol, just our general marketing efforts and people getting back out after COVID. Our new parking lots, I think we're gonna see a rise in demand in the village. And we had 16 plus boats come down from Kingston for Canada. You know, that capacity will get used if it's there. And I think there's ways to make it not cannibalize business from
it's
maybe.
nice to have.
So that's where I'm
That's
like,
kind of where I go back and forth. I don't know how I feel about it. I think if we say that we don't want overnight docking, then we're turning potential people, like staying at the hotel, restaurant people, like they could come stay for a weekend. I just don't know how to make it work so that maybe Point's not pissed off at us.
Creative.
I don't know.
Yeah, we still have three Marines.
I know.
the barracks
Whether we
are,
put it out to bid and we let them bid on the
PJ wants the
contract.
village to buy his docks too.
Does
Of
it?
course he does,
Well, he's funny because he's like,
For 3 million.
right?
well,
Oh,
One of his-
we'll buy it off him and then eliminate his back taxes he owes us. Just like what, 13,000?
I have a long.
What about the de-scope pieces? If it's not too much to ask, Randy Park should come to us for all the projects with an itemized list of statement of work.
Yeah,
And we can say, what's this? Do we need it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Till we get to the magical number, which is
Right.
what, two, whatever.
the other thing is, that, you know, if we get some money for stormwater, we can put some of the storm money into the parking lot drainage thing. If Dave gets some money, we can put some of that in. So we may not need to trim the fat quite as bad as his.
But to his point, no, we shouldn't wait too long because we just accepted the bid and they're gonna get working on it.
Yeah.
And now I think you're right. Now is the time to be like, all right, what can we trim?
didn't he say that they're gonna deal with the wall first?
Yeah,
the
And that's like, there's no getting around
Docks,
that.
docks are next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do
So
have
we
quite a
have-
bit of time on that.
Okay,
So it's a great conversation to have, hear, lead, good input from board members and the public on this, because it's a big change. I
the
remember,
hard part
the
is
yelling
the
and
same people
screaming
come to the board
and-
meetings and then I feel like it's the same voices that come to the board
you
meeting.
can
and-
have, you know, sometimes you have to have special meetings where you do presentations.
That would be one of them.
Yeah,
Presentation, this is
Yeah.
what, right, that's the one.
This was the original one. Everyone's familiar with what's happened in
Yeah.
the world recently.
Right.
Right,
So we can't afford all this anymore. It's gonna cost you money.
right.
We need to-
yeah, the board meetings are not, it's not representative of most people in the village, nor is Facebook. I mean, that's part of the whole, our discussion before about the ball fest. Like,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get
I know, but they're the first ones complaining when they don't like when
Of
something
course.
happens.
Well,
And I'm
that's-
like, but come to a
No, they
meeting.
get, they get bonus points for being here, like they do, their voices are gonna be heard more by their willingness to sit in the room.
Right,
But we also have to consider, like, you know, Doc Renzi coming and saying we need a noise ordinance on Main Street every meeting until he got his way was not necessarily in the best interest of all the village residents, even though people don't come to say they like the way things are.
It's catch-22, we also make sure we have never upgraded our metal chairs, so that we keep people.
Make them uncomfortable.
Motion
Make a
to
motion to
adjourn, by the
adjourn.
way.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Is this your,
can you?
you got writing on it? I mean, it's probably nothing else, but I just.
Stay healthy, Mayor. Stay healthy, everybody else.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you do.
Enjoy